Lucy, how's your packing going? Are you ready for it? You must be so excited.
Hi, Danielle. What are you talking about? Why am I supposed to be packing, and what should I be ready for?
I'm talking about your trip to Hawaii with Mason. Your flight is tonight. Have you arranged the ride? It won't be too busy at the airport since it's a weekday today, but it's always a good idea to arrange it in advance. I told Mason that I would drop you guys off, but he didn't want me to. Do you need a ride? I won't mind giving you one.
A trip to Hawaii with Mason? I've never heard of such a thing. Mason never mentioned it to me. Did he tell you he's going on a trip with me? Are you sure he said that? How am I supposed to afford such an expensive plane ticket to Hawaii when I barely make ends meet? I will never be able to afford a trip unless you give me the money for it. Oh, wait. Is this supposed to be a surprise? Why, though? It's not my birthday or any special occasion.
It seems my suspicions were correct. He was lying. I really wanted to believe he wasn't lying. Lucy, I am sorry for crushing your dreams, but there is no such thing as a trip to Hawaii or anything like that. I guess I can't ignore a woman's intuition. Bad feelings have never been wrong.
What are you talking about? You're the one who brought up a trip to Hawaii, and now you're saying there's no such thing?
It appears he assumed I would readily believe him if he brought up the idea of going on a trip with you, because you and I don't talk often. It's perplexing to me why men can effortlessly fabricate lies in such situations. I find it challenging to comprehend their tendency to deceive so effortlessly. He should have put more effort into his lies if he didn't have guts to tell me the truth.
Because he's so cute and innocent, don't you get it? Irrespective of the passage of time, it seems that sons have an innate ability to maintain their innocence and purity, whereas daughters often resort to employing cunning tactics. Having raised both a son and a daughter, I can confidently assert that a son possesses a certain coolness and genuineness that surpasses the qualities of a whiny and sensitive daughter. Hence, it makes me wonder why you didn't take my advice seriously when I repeatedly urged you to have a child as your mother-in-law. Why must you devote yourself so wholeheartedly to your career when you're a woman? A woman's priority should be her family, not her career. He wouldn't have lied to you to go on a trip if you had followed my counsel and had a child with him.
You're not listening to me. I'm saying your innocent son is going on a trip behind my back by lying to me. And why are you bringing up my career and urging me to have a baby? Your son is definitely onto something suspicious, and why should I be listening to you nagging at me?
Suspicious? Are you saying my innocent son is cheating on you or something?
You already have an idea, don't you? Lately, he comes home late, every evening, using excuses like golf and fishing on weekends to spend time outside. His attitude toward me has also changed significantly, and it's hard not to suspect that there might be another woman involved. From your perspective, is it acceptable that women need to prioritize their family while men can prioritize things other than family? Is it deemed acceptable and forgivable for one spouse to be unfaithful if the couple doesn't have children together? If there were children between you two, he would have at least tried to be faithful to his family. But because you've lost her attractiveness, his love for you has faded, and without children, how easy do you think it would be for my son to meet other women? He might be flirting with them because his life with you is dull, and he just wants to have some fun. Why do you scrutinize and fuss over it? Can't you just let him do as he pleases? Every man has a partner or two. That's how they are. It's embedded in their DNA. For them, infidelity is like having a cup of coffee. It's like a sweet and fragrant caramel latte that you indulge in occasionally when your mouth feels empty after enjoying a delicious meal. It may be sweet, but consuming too much is unhealthy and disrupts sleep. Therefore, it's like having a cup of coffee as a treat after eating a healthy meal. Drinking coffee doesn't mean you're skipping a meal, does it? Is everything okay with you? Are you having dementia already? I'm sure you're getting old, but you're not old enough to have dementia. You're saying a load of crap that doesn't even make sense. What do you mean by infidelity is just like having a cup of coffee? What did coffee do to deserve to be compared to adultery? You shouldn't insult coffee.
Why don't you understand the actual meaning of my words when you're so young and don't have a comprehensive disability? I'm saying you're the main dish and other women are desserts, which means you're not going to be dumped because of the desserts. This is why he hangs out with other women, because you don't understand what others are saying. Haven't you heard men turn out to however women treat them? He wouldn't be having fun with other women right now if you paid more attention to your husband than your career and had children with him. It's believed that when a woman fulfills her role well, the household remains peaceful.
Did you say I'm the main dish? Are you saying Mason having affairs is my fault?
You should be grateful to be recognized as his main dish. I don't find you worthy enough when you're older than my son and you can't even have a child. I really don't get it.
I don't understand why you mutter that I'm an old daughter-in-law just because my birthday is only 6 months earlier than his.
You're older than him, even if your birthday is just a day earlier. What I meant was that you should be merciful and forgive your cheating husband since you're older than him. I try to impart the wisdom of life since I have lived over 30 years longer than you. But instead of showing gratitude, you respond with impudence. You're my daughter-in-law, so I try like hell to like you, but I just can't. You are never good enough for my son.
Do you truly believe that favoring your own child while disregarding the feelings of your daughter-in-law reflects the wisdom of life, not even attempting to understand her? It is clear that such a mindset is not wise, but rather a manifestation of stubbornness fueled by forcefulness, pride, and self-centeredness. I can't help but wonder if you would express the same sentiments if you or your daughter were in my shoes. Talking about the absurd as the main dish and coffee. This conversation seems to have no further meaning or purpose, so let's just end it here. I now realize how foolish I was to anticipate any form of assistance or support from you.
Okay, fine. I'll tell him to cut off all ties with his mistress after he comes back from his trip. Satisfied?
Hello, I'm Danielle, a woman in my mid-30s. An ordinary woman who got married to a man I thought was humorous and genuine 4 years ago. My husband and I worked in the same building, so we often crossed paths and grew closer, eventually leading to marriage. My mother-in-law, despite me and my husband being the same age, always treated me as an older woman and saw me as a predator who took away her only loving and adorable son from her. She would call me several times a week and nag about trivial matters, pressuring me to have a child. However, I trusted and loved my husband, so I stood by it. Lately, though, my husband started not coming home in the evening from time to time, and even when he does come home, he only stares at his phone without showing any interest in talking or spending time with me. In the moment of wondering if he might have someone else, he suddenly announced that he was going on a trip to Hawaii with his mother. Something felt suspicious, so I reached out to his mother, and indeed, it was a lie. The feeling of being betrayed by someone you love is truly terrifying. But surprisingly, it helped me gather my thoughts. At that moment, when I was determined to return my husband to my nagging mother-in-law and get a divorce, I heard the news that he had been involved in a horrible car accident on his way to the airport with his mistress and was urgently transported to the hospital. I had already made up my mind to divorce him, so I thought it would be best not to show up at the hospital. However, as expected, my troublesome mother-in-law started causing problems again.
What exactly are you doing, huh? You don't answer my calls or respond to my messages. Are you trying to fight me or something? How can you be so indifferent when your husband suddenly had an accident and was rushed to the hospital? What kind of upbringing did your mother give you that made you so heartless? How can a person be so cold, no matter what they've been through in life? Even if your husband had an affair, he's still your husband. How can you not even bat an eye when he's injured?
Mason and his mistress had an affair trip and he had an accident ending up in hospital half naked. And now you're telling me to witness such a disgraceful sight? I don't deserve that.
He didn't undress with the intention of doing what you're thinking. He simply took off his clothes because it was hot. Unfortunately, he had an accident coincidentally. He was on his way to the airport, but was feeling too hot and wanted to take a short break on the highway before continuing. But then someone crazy rear-ended him.
Lucy, it's only 50 degrees outside. It's very cool, if not chilly, in the fall weather. And did you say he took off his clothes because it was too hot inside? Is the inside of the car a dry sauna or something? Even so, why would a man and woman who are not married go inside together? We're old enough not to believe that kind of crap, so let's stop denying the reality. They would have arrived at the hotel in Hawaii and been able to do whatever they wanted to do pretty soon. All they needed was to wait only for a few hours. However, they were so horny and weren't able to wait, or they chose not to wait and eventually took their clothes off in the middle of the highway? Do you know why they were rear-ended and ended up in the hospital? They were punished for being insane and promiscuous. I can't believe my husband is such a sick adulterer. It's so humiliating. Did he become retarded because he was crazy for his sexual desires, or was he born that way? What kind of upbringing did you give your innocent son that made him become such a horrible human being? I'm so curious. I really want to know. Have you accidentally fed him cockroaches or something? The way he behaves reminds me of the roaches.
Oh, stop babbling nonsense and shut your filthy mouth up. I fed him the most delicious dishes made with the freshest organic ingredients. How dare you call my son a cockroach? How dare you treat him that way? Have you gone mad? Do you think it's appropriate for you to say such stuff to your mother-in-law who's going through a crisis because her son is in critical condition? Stop with the nonsense and rush to the hospital right now. You have an obligation to take care of your husband.
I have absolutely no intention of taking care of your son or even visiting him. It should be your responsibility to take care of your precious son, whom you raised with love and fed with high-quality food made from the freshest ingredients. For the moment he decided to betray me and cheat on me with another woman, I was no longer considered his wife. Therefore, whether he is sick or in need of care, it's irrelevant to me. But it sounds like it's relevant to you, doesn't it?
What was that again? I'm in my 60s already. I'm overwhelmed to even take care of myself, and you're telling me to take care of an adult man in his 30s? How am I supposed to do that? Is that some kind of joke? Are you trying to be funny? You suck at jokes because it's not funny at all.
Do you think we were ever close enough to talk about jokes? I don't think so. I would joke with everyone and anyone in the world, but you.
Excuse me?
You always said you were furious about losing your only lovely son in the world. To me. You treated me harshly and told me to return your son to you on a regular basis. You know what? I was going to return him someday because I couldn't stand it anymore, and I guess right now is the perfect timing for that. Listen carefully. Mason is such a hopeless, useless husband who cheated on me and even ended up in the hospital paralyzed, but I'm sure he's still the most lovely creature in the world to you, right? So, I'm returning him to you. Please, take such good care of him and give him all the love you couldn't give because I took him from you.
Returning him? Do you think my son is a product or something? Besides, do you think you can return used goods? Are you trying to return him to me now when he became defective and disabled, after taking him without my approval and using him all you wanted for years? If you wish to return him to me, you should make him the way he was at the time you took him from me. You need to make him right. Why? Are you trying to say it's not possible? If you thought everything in the world would go as easily as you imagined, that would be a big misconception. What kind of business would accept returns for a product that was sold 4 years ago?
Are you admitting that your son is a product? If so, it would be even cowardly for you to tell me to take the human garbage out myself. You should take it out yourself if you want to. I say no to your proposal since it will smell awful and I don't want to get my hands dirty.
Would you stop calling my sweet son garbage already? Even though he's paralyzed and lying in bed now, before the accident, he was a handsome and amazing man. He was talented, caring, and diligent. If you had monopolized such an exceptional man for 4 years, you should take responsibility until the end. Are you planning to abandon him just because he has become physically inconvenient? Marriage is not a relationship where you swallow the sweet and spit out the bitter. It is about building a strong bond based on mutual understanding, support, and the willingness to work together through both joyful and difficult times. Mason is going through such a difficult time and he needs your help. This is the in sickness part, and you're supposed to take care of him until death do us part. Do you think you'll be able to sleep peacefully at night after betraying your husband like this?
What did I do to not sleep peacefully at night? I didn't steal goods, murder someone, or certainly commit adultery behind my husband's back like someone else I know. I don't understand why you're saying such stuff to me.
Aren't you worried about your husband? What he needs the most at the moment is your support and care. Wouldn't he come back to you if you sincerely became his hands and feet at his most difficult times? Help him go through his worst moments. And look at that adulterous bitch was also rushed to the hospital. I'm sure Mason will dump her and come back to you if you show him how genuine and caring you are. However, on the flip side, he might stay by her side forever without coming back to you ever again if you dump him right now.
He should stay with her. I'm letting him go. I would be better off if he goes to hell or heaven or whatever, so I'll be able to receive his life insurance payout.
What the hell are you talking about? Are you praying and waiting for him to die or something after he survived a horrible accident? Is your brain filled with such dirty desires to live a luxurious life with the money traded with my son's life? That's disgusting. How can you be so cruel? I was such a fool to consider such a vicious witch like you as my daughter-in-law. You know what? Sign the divorce paper and bring it to me right now. I won't stand by it anymore. Get a divorce and get the hell away from my son forever. I'll make sure to make your life a living hell by letting Mason marry that girl.
Are you sure she'll be interested? Marrying off a corpse could be difficult.
Seriously, are you insane? Stop talking about death. My son is not dead. I understand that you're shocked and you feel like it's the end of the world by getting dumped by my son, but you need to get your crap together. You will be punished if you treat someone alive as if he's dead.
I'm not saying your son is dead. I'm not treating anyone as if they're dead. You should listen to me when I'm saying it. I'm saying that mistress who was rushed to the hospital ended up dead. What part of it don't you understand? Will I still be punished even when I'm saying the truth?
No way. Is that true? Did that bitch just die after making such a mess? She should be responsible for everything. She can't just die. That's too good for her. She's the one who made my son a cripple, and she just died peacefully without taking care of my son for once? I can't believe it. Do you think that makes sense?
Don't you think that such a reaction is a bit excessive given the current situation? For me, of course, it's only natural to feel upset and regard her as the object of resentment who committed adultery with my husband. However, for her family, don't you think her death would be very unfair and a deep sadness? They lost their wife and daughter overnight so unexpectedly. If I try to rephrase what you said from their perspective, Mason survived at the end of the day, regardless of his paralysis, while she died. They must feel extremely unjust about it and might even wish it was her who survived even with paralysis. What I'm saying is she died. You need to pay some respect, at least.
Oh, snap out of it, you idiot. Why are you defending her when she stole your husband and put him in the hospital? This is exactly why you were betrayed and neglected by your husband. You make me speechless. I beg you to wake up and face the reality. It's not your job to worry about that little witch's death or her family. Your job is to take care of your sick husband. I need to step outside for a second to run some errands, so come to the hospital right now and take care of Mason. Got it? Danielle, have you saved up some money? You should have at least have $5,000, right?
What money are you talking about out of nowhere?
I can't forgive that wicked little witch who made my son end up in hospital, so I managed to confront Mason and obtain his mistress's husband's number. I told her husband that since his deceased wife is the one who caused my son to be in such a condition, I demanded compensation for my son. I told him that he needs to pay alimony on behalf of his deceased wife. However, to my surprise, he responded by threatening to claim compensation from me. What is this all about? When I told him I absolutely wouldn't give money to him, he threatened to take legal action. He also said he would personally visit Mason's work and let everyone know what he had been doing, if necessary. What should I do now? Mason is already physically dead. I don't want him to be socially dead, too. Oh, I'm really stressed out, and it makes me hyperventilate. Send me $5,000 to my bank account immediately so I can pay him the compensation he's looking for. On the other side, you should claim compensation from him as well. That way, we won't incur any losses.
What kind of compensation and how can you claim it from a deceased person? I'm simply going to claim compensation from your son and proceed with the divorce, just so you know. If you had just remained calm, none of this would have happened, but you deliberately stirred up trouble, so you should deal with the mess you created on your own.
What is up with everyone? Why is everyone asking my son to pay them when he doesn't have that kind of money? Fine, he might owe you some money, but he doesn't have anything to give you right now. Ask for it later, again, when he goes back to work and gets his paychecks.
You don't understand what's going on, do you? When I called his work to confirm, I found out that he used me as his excuse to request a leave. He lied about me having surgery for cancer, and that's the reason for taking a leave. I'm completely fine and healthy, but he made up lies about me being the one causing pain, all for the sake of his affair. I was so outraged by his deceit, so I told them everything about it. I told them that I was never sick or had any kind of surgery. Rather, he got into an accident and ended up paralyzed in the hospital while having an affair trip with his mistress. They were so shocked. Don't you think he'll be fired sooner rather than later?
Oh my goodness. How could you do that to Mason? How could you turn away from your own husband so completely? You're so harsh.
Oh, cut the crap. I'm going to divorce your innocent son, so please stop calling me. After what happened, I received the alimony and divorced my ex-husband. Because he spent all the money on seeing other women, he had no savings, so he had to take out a loan to pay me the alimony. Even worse, he lost his job, and I heard that he's now struggling in his mother's house, leading a difficult life. Although he tries his best, finding a new job with his physical limitations will not be easy. My former mother-in-law, who used to adore her son so much, called me and urged me to remarry her son, but instead of responding, I immediately blocked her. I'm not crazy or having memory loss. There's no reason for me to be with him or his mother ever again in my life. I'm enjoying my life the way it is now, and I don't need them. Hey, big sis, how have you been all this time? I know you basically got disowned by the family even though you donated your kidney to me, but you are living a pretty good life right now, right? You've always been very persistent, even through the hard times.
Huh? Big sis? Last time I remember, I never had a younger sister. Who are you calling big sis?
Wow, time really just flew by, didn't it? 12 years. Wow. Rhea, you're still harboring the anger from 12 years ago? You still have not gotten over what happened? You have to learn to accept and just move on from that, or else it'll start affecting your health. You gave up one of your kidneys, You have to take extra care because you're living with one less bodily organ. If you keep on holding on to the past, you're just hurting yourself. How are you supposed to keep yourself healthy if you still mentally carry the burden of the past?
You have no rights to be saying all that to me. How dare you even have the courage to say that to me? We all know who to blame here and the reason why I had to donate my kidney. Stop acting like you don't know whose fault it was. You never once said thank you to me. You're so ungrateful and inconsiderate. Like you have no kind thoughts in your mind to even express any appreciation. You literally cried for days and kept on begging me like your life depended on it. You really made a big fuss and made me feel guilty. Not just that, you even made Mom and Dad kneel in front of me just so they can convince me to help you. Going through a surgical procedure just to help you is the biggest mistake of my life. I've always been treated worse than you, and have always felt discriminated against by our parents ever since we were little. They basically treated me as if I was invisible and only acknowledged my existence whenever they needed me to do something. And when you guys didn't need me anymore, you guys abandoned me. So no, I will not be accepting or getting over the past because I have no plans of forgiving any of you in this lifetime.
Well, who is there to blame why you were treated differently ever since? You say that they favored me more than you, yet you keep on harboring hard feelings toward your family like a little child. Why are you only making it seem like we're the evil ones here? All I did was ask you for help because I wanted to live. Is that a crime? And it is also not a crime for Mom and Dad to care for me more. How is it a bad thing if they just cared more for me than you? What's unfair here is you complaining over something that isn't even wrong. But come to think of it, Rhea, I think you're a really stupid person. I mean, you got kicked out as soon as you finished middle school because you kept saying you'll live on your own and you didn't need us. You should have taken that chance to just cut ties from us and just really live on your own as if you never had any family in the first place. But then we shed a few tears in front of you and asked you to give up one of your kidney. And yeah, I get that you say it's the biggest mistake you ever did in your life. But you knew that kidney was going to me, yet you still ended up giving it to me and going through the procedure and all that. Then, right after the surgery, you got disowned by us again. And I remember how much you cried over it. It's so funny thinking back on how ugly your face was, sobbing and just crying. I mean, you were really desperate for us to take you back in, but for the second time in your life, you got abandoned by your own family. You guys hurt me so badly that it scarred my heart forever. And to you, that's something to laugh about? Even strangers would never do that to other people they don't know. But then, you, on the other hand, is laughing over something so painful that your own sister went through. I mean, for God's sake, we come from the same bloodline. We are half-siblings. Be real. We didn't even come from the same womb. How can you call yourself my sister? If my mom hears that, she will really throw a huge fit. She'll get so angry to even think you're thinking we're sisters. You're not her child. Ever since I was a kid, I always dreamed of finding my own biological mother. In my dreams, I am crying, and I am surrounded by emptiness. Not one soul or human in sight. And as I am screaming, "Mom, Mom," I wake myself up with the screams. And as soon as I open my eyes, my pillow is just soaked by tears that I cried overnight. But then when your mom saw me have those kind of dreams, she never once tried to console me. And Dad just completely ignored that I was crying my heart out in my dreams, and ignored me without even trying to make me feel better. And then there's you, the worst of them all. You would point your fingers at me, laughing as if I was some clown in a circus. And you kept telling them to spank me. Ever since we were little, I viewed the three of you as these monsters that were always trying to get me. If you really want to find the real monster that you should have resentment to, you need to go find your biological mother. She's the real monster. How can a real mother just die on her own and leave her daughter by herself? What kind of mother is that? You have no right to making a monster out of my mom who didn't do anything wrong. My mom is just your stepmom. Why do you expect her to treat you like you're her own daughter? No stepmom ever does that. Were you always delusional and expected your stepmom would love you the same way she loves her real daughter? Be serious. I mean, you should be glad that she even fed you during the time you were at home. But yeah, sure. I mean, we shouldn't even have cared about you at all. You're just so ungrateful. And not once did you ever say thank you to Mom and Dad, even though they tried to be nice to you and give you food and shelter. Give me food and shelter?
Oh, please don't make me laugh right now, Mika. Ever since I was 7 years old, all they did was make me do house chores all day long, and they would only give me clothes to wear that they picked up in some donation box somewhere. They never once let me go to the library or extra tutoring because I had to be home to do housework. And they kicked me out of the house as soon as I turned 15 years old. Tell me why I should be thankful for them? What reason do I have to even feel an ounce of gratitude for them?
It is already enough that they provided you with basic level of education. That should be enough for you to feel thankful. You're not even my mother's child. Yet she still did that much for you. Did you expect her to support you all the way till college too? You know it is your fault why you have so much hatred and feel that it's unfair why your life is like this. It is because you expected the same treatment as me, the biological daughter. But you did not get it. That's why you have this resentment towards us.
But our dad is also my biological father. Why was he treating me like I was a stranger?
Wow, it's really funny that you still have the courage to call him Dad.
Okay, yeah, fine. You know what? You're right. That person should never be called a father. He is nowhere near like a father. He's not even a good person. What kind of father discriminates between his daughters and second wife, and even physically abuses me, then kicks me out? That kind of person does not deserve to be considered a father. And 7 years after kicking me out, he calls out of nowhere and begs me to help his other daughter? Since he needed me and knew only I could help, he fakes it and cries and whines to me. I so badly wanted to say no to him at the time, but I somehow found the ounce of kindness I could give to my only sister, despite being half-sister. I really let my heart get the best of me. He gives me all these lies just to get me to say yes. He told me that we would all live together once again, under the same roof. That once summer comes, we would all go to the lake and swim together, have a barbecue party, or that we would all go camping somewhere and watch the fireworks show. Not only that, he even said that we would all go to a cabin during winter to ski and just enjoy some hot chocolate together near the fireplace and have a nice warm night. He was apologizing to me for all the hurt he has done to me and saying that we should still help each other out because we're family. He suggested we should all live together, with tears running down his face. Seeing that made my heart forgive him for a second. And in the end, he's still my father, and I hated seeing my father have to beg like that. I believed his crocodile tears, and it was those exact lies that made me give in and grant his request to help you. That's why I ended up donating my kidney to you. I was only in my early 20s back then, so I didn't know any better. I should have known. But then he switched on me as soon as the surgery was done. I have never seen a person change as fast as he did. What kind of father? No, what kind of person is that? He made sure to make it clear to me never to contact him, and he was even angry at me. Unbelievable. Just so fake and a user. And then all three of you blocked my number from your phone as if you all plotted it together? Actually, you guys probably did. Once again, for the second time in my life, I was abandoned by this same group of people who is supposed to be my family.
Oh my goodness, Rhea, are you done yet? Why are you ranting to me about all this? I don't know why you're using me as your rant buddy. Just please quit talking because I am tired of hearing you talk. I did not contact you again after 12 years to hear you complain about your life or vent all your resentment toward me or mom or dad, okay?
Okay, fine. Then what is it that you want from me? Surely you are contacting me again because you want something from me?
Stop trying to be funny. Why would I want something from a beggar like you? There is not one thing I would ever want from someone like you. The only reason I am contacting you is to keep you updated with how I am doing. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing less. Anyway, because of your kidney that you donated to me, I was able to attend college just fine. I graduated and found a job right after. I also met an amazing person and will get married to him soon. That's how my life has been since you gave me your kidney, and I just wanted to tell you that. My soon-to-be father-in-law used to own a really big company that had a huge profit, so he is doing well in terms of earning money and running businesses. My fiancé is also the same. He is working at a big company earning a minimum of $100,000 every year with bonuses and lots of benefits. I basically met a person perfect that lacks nothing, so Mom and Dad are super happy for me. You know how they are. They're super ecstatic for me to get married to this person.
Okay, so? I honestly don't care. Why are you telling me all this? Do you just want to boast that you're marrying a rich person? That's the only reason you're contacting me all of a sudden? After 12 years? You really must be super bored to be thinking of calling me just to tell me all that.
Well, people say to never forget the kindness of others, and that's what I'm doing. I am not forgetting your kindness. My future is looking super bright, and I just thought of you. Is that so wrong to do? I realized my life really started changing for the better the moment you donated your kidney to me. My life has been an uphill since then. Because of the pain and suffering you went through, I ended up with a super blessed and happy life, and I'm really sorry it turned out like this. But you will still congratulate me for my wedding, right?
Yeah, sure. Congrats. There. Happy? That's enough, right?
That's really funny that you even care to pretend when in reality you're filled with envy over my amazing life. Oh, and by the way, just for the record, don't even dare dream about coming to my wedding. We all know that you have nothing to offer, so nobody wants to marry you. And you're probably living alone somewhere. So don't think that you're invited to my wedding and find someone there. I don't want a beggar joining a special ceremony for me and ruining my wedding. Don't even think about pulling a Cinderella on my wedding, storming in uninvited and trying to call off my wedding. Don't even dare think of that, I swear.
Why don't you just worry about that ugly personality of yours and fix your attitude and character? Also, why would I even want to go to someone's wedding all of a sudden when I haven't talked or seen that person in more than 12 years? Make that make sense. Did you really think I care about you that much that I would plan all that you just said? I don't care about your life. Your brain is full of nothing but hateful thoughts. Do you think you will live a good life with that kind of brain?
I bet you would call up one of our relatives to figure out where the wedding will be. That's what you're going to do, huh? Our entire family, including myself, don't ever want to see your face at my wedding. None of us want to see even a strand of your hair. So please, for the love of God, do not come to my wedding. Got that?
Oh, babe, don't worry. I will not go within a 10-mile radius to your wedding, even if you beg me with all your life. And one more thing, please stop contacting me. Don't ever contact me again. Are you crazy? You really have lost your mind, didn't you? After all that, you thought it was a good idea to pour wine on my dress? What kind of bride does that to a guest who came to their wedding to congratulate her? What kind of ignorant person does that?
I warned you, didn't I? I told you not to come near my wedding venue because no one wanted to see your ugly face. I made it super clear to you not to come to my wedding, but you're just a slave to men, that you found your way to my wedding, and after all that you still blame me for what I did? Are you really that desperate to meet a man at my wedding? Such a beggar thing to do.
Oh, did you not see my husband sitting next to me at your wedding? You poured an entire pitcher of wine on my dress, and he saw all that happen. So he ran to get some napkins and help me wipe off that red wine that ruined my dress. You didn't notice that guy?
What? That guy is your husband? Are you being serious right now? How can the CEO of my husband's company be your husband? There's just no way. That's impossible. So, the reason why you came to my wedding is because you are the +1 of my husband's guests? Is that why?
Yes, that is right. Your husband invited my husband and myself to your wedding. My husband decided to go to your guy's wedding not only because he is the CEO of the company where your husband works. Your husband is my husband's assistant at work, so we both got invited and we came to your wedding to show respect to your husband and congratulate him.
What? There's no way. Just no way. I can't believe this is all happening. What kind of a twist of fate is this? No, you should have told me. You should have told me ahead of time that you were married to the CEO of my husband's workplace. Then I would have been nicer to you. I wouldn't have done any of it. I really just thought that the only reason you came to my wedding was to meet some rich guy that you could marry or something.
It is really crazy that you could even come up with that kind of thought about someone. It's just so bad that you think people have bad intentions toward you.
I guess. But anyway, you won't tell my husband about any of this, right? You will keep quiet about what is really happening, right? I mean, you'll just tell him that I accidentally poured the wine on your dress with no bad intentions, right? And, most importantly, you will keep our complicated family relationship a secret from him, right?
Well, I think that's kind of tough for me to do. I can't really promise anything because my amazing husband will never lie to a special employee of his. So he won't be hiding anything and will tell your husband everything and the truth. After we tell your husband what really has been going on, what he does next is up to him. He is free to evaluate the situation any way he wants.
What do you mean you will tell him everything? Are you also going to tell him that you gave one of your kidneys to me? You won't, right?
That's like the sweet spot of this entire story, that your husband has to know. Of course I will tell him that. And didn't you say that you have no fault in any of this? That you never did anything wrong? If you or your parents really have nothing to be embarrassed about, then you shouldn't feel the need to hide anything from your husband, right? Why would you feel afraid for your husband to know the truth? Do you have a reason to hide things from him?
Okay, fine. Everything is my fault. I agree that part of it is my fault. Let me just go on with my wedding drama-free, and then I will meet you afterwards to apologize to you privately. So please don't ruin my wedding. Just please don't do anything that will ruin my special date, please.
Mika, it's not as simple as saying it's my fault. I feel no sincerity in that at all. It's like what people say. The world is a small place after all. I mean, you guys kicked me out and cut off any ties with me for 12 long years. And then after all the hurt and trauma I went through, we end up meeting again because of some reason, and now I have the chance to avenge myself for what you guys put me through. It really feels so satisfying that I now have this opportunity to take my sweet and cold revenge. What people say is true. Justice and good always prevail. Anyway, knowing how your husband's personality is, I think it's good to see that you should be worried about your marriage, right? You should start worrying about your married life, don't you think? You better have a backup plan or something.
No, just how can all of this happen? I can't believe it. It just does not make sense how a low class like you married a person like my husband's CEO. It just doesn't add up. I just cannot imagine you being the wife of a CEO that runs a conglomerate. There is no way you can be elegant in high class. You're not that level at all.
You can't imagine it, can you? You know, it's been 12 years. You don't know anything about my life. I am an elegant and high-class woman. I am fit to be the wife of a conglomerate CEO. It's just that you are so immature and childish that you cannot believe I am capable of what I have achieved. Just because you treated me so horribly before does not mean I can't be happy or live a good life, right? I mean, Cinderella did end up with Prince Charming despite getting treated like garbage by her stepsisters and stepmother, right? And they lived happily ever after. I'm so glad I was born in a different womb than you, or else I would have been born with such an ugly attitude like you.
Oh, just be quiet and stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and please stop my husband from leaving me. He literally just announced to everyone that he's breaking off this wedding, so please tell him to stop. Hurry up, please. Please convince my husband to stay with me.
Husband? What husband are you talking about? Last time I checked, you're not legally registered as a married couple, and your supposed fiancé just broke off your engagement and wedding, so I don't think you ever had a husband in the first place. You should be glad that you're one kind of a woman. You got separated with the same day you got married. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, I'm going to block you. Don't try to find ways to contact me. Let's never see each other again. Oh, and before I leave, tell your mom and dad that I told you this. I'm not sure if they've been like that because they were just born evil or what, but they aged really badly. And they just looked so distasteful and honestly disgusting. Make sure to tell them that. After that, my half-sister was immediately separated in the same place and time as her wedding. Her fiancé thanked me for the kind act that I did, but he said that he just could not get married to someone as awful as Mika. He said that he just cannot be in the same house with someone who is so ungrateful for other people's kindness, someone who has no good values or ethics. He despised her and just could not call someone like that his wife. And then there were her parents. They were angry and yelled and cried, saying that they're super upset about what happened and that I should be responsible for what happened. I predicted they would gang up against me again, but at this point, it was just funny to see how they were acting. With everything that happened throughout the years, I realized that life is like a boomerang. If you hurt others, that hurt will boomerang straight back at you. People say karma is real, and my life is pure evidence of that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more.